Hello Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, and welcome to your reading. So Aquarius, today we're going to go over your overall energy as well as your person's overall energy. We're going to see how the both of you are currently viewing this relationship, how you guys feel about it, and what actions you guys plan on taking in each other's direction and or moving forward. Just keep in mind the roles can be reversed. So as I'm breaking these energies down, you'll be able to pick and choose who you are in all of this, because you could be the person to the left or you could be the person to the right. Also keep in mind time is fluid, so this could either currently be happening or may be happening at a later date. Now, this is a general reading, so it may or may not resonate with you. If it doesn't, definitely feel free to check out your other placements. But with all that being said, let's get started. So Aquarius, we do have separation, time apart from your partners on the horizon. So you could be currently going through a separation, or there just could be like a lot of distance right now between you and this person. Maybe you're keeping your distance from them, maybe they're keeping their distance from you, but we're going to look a little bit more into, this energy and, see what's going on with that. But let's look at your person's energy. What's the overall energy for the person Aquarius is connecting with or will be connecting with? Okay. We have getting to know each other. Very similar to the Three of Pentacles, Three of Cups. For some of you, you could very well be meeting someone new very, very soon. Before I say anything, I do want to get the overall energy for the reading for today. What's the overall energy for this connection? So we do have unrequited love. Okay. All right. Let's talk. Let's talk. Aquarius. Sometimes I do look at the getting to know each other card as like I said, like the Three of Pentacles, and the Three of Pentacles for me as a reader, it could definitely represent like a repairing energy. I feel like this person that you're currently dealing with is trying their hardest to like make this connection between the two of you work. The thing is that, I feel like you've been through a lot, with this person. So the desire, I would say, to like make this relationship work on your end, it's just dissipating is like the best way that I can, describe what it is I'm seeing here. It's just dissipating. I feel like, everything that, this person has put you through has caused you to, lose love for them, lose, respect for them as well as desire for them. So we have one person that clearly wants to make this relationship work, and the other person's like, I just don't want to do this. I just don't want to do this anymore. So let's get into it. Let's see how you're currently viewing this relationship. I mean, we already have a rough idea of what's going on, but let's just see what else we can get. How does Aquarius currently view this relationship? Yeah. That Ten of Swords, energy, coming out here, I feel like, this person has definitely put you through a whole lot. This person has definitely put you through a whole lot. So the desire, you know what I mean, to like want to make this relationship work, it is, for the most part dissipating just due to like, everything that you've experienced thus far. With the Star to the Lovers coming out here, it's a tricky situation, Aquarius, that you find yourself in, because, as much as, the desire to try to fix or repair things here with this person is drastically dissipating, I am definitely getting that, at the same time, with the Star to the Lovers coming out here, you're not ready to say goodbye to this person. You're not ready to walk away, from this relationship. So it kind of looks like right now you're just like a little bit torn, like on what to do, like I said, the desire to like work things out with this person is just, at an all-time low, but at the same exact time, it's like you love them. They mean everything to you. It's somebody that you're not ready to say goodbye to. It's somebody that you're not ready to walk away from. So it just kind of looks like right now you're just, for the most part, retracting your energy from this person just to kind of like, regroup and like really, think long and hard about what you want to do here. Like, do you want to continue to stay and try to make this relationship work with them? Or, do you just want to, give up? The choice is entirely up to you. But I feel like that's why you're retracting your energy from this person, is because you need some time to like really think long and hard about like what you want to do moving forward, whether that's to continue to remain with them, or just outright, you know, end things with them. Um, so it looks like there's a really big choice that you have to make here, but tell me more about getting to know, well, no. How does this person currently view this relationship with Aquarius? How does this person currently view this relationship with Aquarius? Yeah, you guys are like, you guys are like kind of somewhat, you know, in the same boat here. You know, I feel like, you know, they've put you through a lot of stuff with the Tower coming out here. I feel like you've put them through a lot of stuff too. You know, you're somebody who, you know, means a great deal to them, you know, just like they're somebody who means a great deal to you. You know, I feel like you've given it your all, you know, when it comes down to them. And I feel like they've definitely given it their all when it comes down to you, even though it may not seem that way, you know, to the both of you, because I feel like I have to say that. You know, you've given your all to them, even though it may not seem that way on their end. Even though they may not think that or believe that, you've given your all to them, just like they've given their all to you, even if it may not seem that way. Okay. So I would say so there's a few, you know, like you guys are kind of like somewhat in the same boat, but, you know, I am definitely getting that, you know, with the Six of Pentacles coming out here. I mean, despite everything that you've put them through and, you know, things of that nature. And it does kind of at times cause them to want to, you know, throw their hands up and give up on you in this dynamic that they share with you as well. You know, they're not ready to say goodbye to you. They're not ready to walk away from this relationship. So this is kind of what causes them in a way to like, want to fix things with you, want to make things better, you know, with you. So then there's that. You know, then there's that. You know, I feel like also too, you know, what causes, you know, this desire, I would say, you know, for you to like, you know, want to work things out with this person has a lot to do with, like I said, this Ten of Swords energy. It has a lot to do with what this person has put you through. Now, for those of you who don't know this, the swords represent our thoughts in tarot. So that's telling me you're spending a lot of time right now in isolation from this person, because I am definitely getting that you're like in hermit mode. It's kind of like the Hermit card, Four Swords card. You know, you are like, you know, somewhat isolating I almost want to say somewhat isolating yourself from them. Like, I don't feel like you're fully isolating yourself from them, but I feel like you're somewhat isolating yourself from them. And you're spending a lot of time thinking about, you know, all the pain that they caused you, everything that they put you through, and how much it affected you, and how much it hurt you, and how it still hurts you, and how it still affects you. And this is what causes the desire to like want to fix things with this person to, you know, dissipate and just completely outright decrease on your behalf. Now, them on the other hand, because again, you guys are like somewhat in the same boat, you know, they're not really spending too much time thinking about the pain that you caused them and how you hurt them and how you did them like this and how you did them like that. Like, they're not really doing all of that, which causes, you know, them to want to still make this relationship work. This is what causes the desire, you know, to come in on their end to try to make this relationship work, because they're not spending their time thinking about, you know, the pain you caused them and how you put them through this and how you put them through that and how dare you do this to them and how dare you do. They're not doing that on their end. So, I mean, you know, it makes sense, you know, as to why right now you just don't have the desire to make this work. And it makes sense as to why they do. You know, it makes sense, because I'm pretty sure if this person would sit there and think about, you know, all the pain that you put them through and how much you hurt them and disappoint them, they wouldn't really have the desire to try to make this work either. They're just not thinking about it. How does Aquarius currently feel? Okay, so we have, we have the Three of Cups, we got the Nine of Cups, and then we also have the Five of Pentacles. Okay, I'm getting like mixed emotions coming from you. It's like a part of you feels like you would be happier you know, without this person in your life. And there's that other part of you that, you know, feels like, you know, you would be a lot happier with them, you know, in your life. So it's kind of like, you know, that's kind of like what I see you experiencing, you know, Aquarius. It's like a part of you feels like, no, I would be happier with them in my life than without them in my life. And then, you know, the next second you're just like, no, 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 like I would be way happier without them, you know, in my life. So right now it's like you're trying to figure out like what is going to essentially make you happy at the end of the day. Is it remaining with them or is it not remaining with them? I think that you know what it's like to live life without them in it, which is kind of making me feel like you guys either experience a temporary separation and or broken up at some point. So you already have like a rough idea of, you know, how your life was without them in it and how it made you feel. You know, I feel like you had your good moments when you weren't with them, but I also feel like you had your bad moments, you know, when you weren't with them. You know, there was times where you found yourself missing this person. There was times where you found yourself feeling lost without them. There was times where you found yourself feeling out of place. You know, there was times where, you know, you find yourself, you know, reminiscing on, you know, the connection and, you know, things like that. But then there was also times, like I said, where you have your, you know, you had your good moments where you're out, you know, having fun, living your life and, you know, things of that nature. So right now it's like you're trying to figure out like, okay, what is going to make me happy? Is it being with this person, or being without this person? So you know what it's like to be with them and what comes with that. And you also know what it's like to not be with them and what comes with that and how that makes you feel. So, right now it's just a matter of making a choice and sticking to it. And you know, with the Eight of Swords coming out here, that's kind of telling me it's like you don't know whether to go left or to go right at this point. All you do know is that you just want to be happy. That's it. That's all you do know. You just don't know like, all right, well, if I go left, you know, like, is that really gonna make me happy? If I go right, is that what's really gonna make me happy? So that's kind of telling me, even when you were, you know, apart from this person, when you guys did initially break up, whenever you guys did break up, or experience that temporary separation, whenever it is that you guys did experience this temporary separation, you weren't entirely happy when you were single and alone and they weren't in your life. You weren't entirely happy. You were somewhat happy, but you weren't entirely happy. And then the same thing, it's like, you know, being in a relationship with them, it's like you're somewhat happy, you're just not entirely happy, is basically what I'm getting. How does this person currently feel? How does this person currently feel? So we have the High Priestess, we got the Eight of Wands, and then we also have the Ace of Pentacles. Before I open my mouth and say anything, tell me more about the, tell me more about the Ace of Pentacles. I feel like there's times, Aquarius, where you make this person like, you know, feel like, you know, things are good between the two of you, you know, things are great between the two of you, you know, things are finally heading in the right direction between the two of you. And, you know, there's just times where you know, make this person feel, you know, like, you know, the complete opposite. You make this person at times, you know, feel like this relationship is not getting better, this is not really going anywhere, you don't really want to make this relationship work. So, you know, I'm just getting an energy of them just experiencing a lot of mixed signals from you. It's like there's times where you make them feel like you want to make this relationship work, and there's times where you make them feel like you don't want to make this relationship work, is basically what I'm getting. And it does cause them to become very worried, you know, and very concerned, because at the end of the day, it's like they don't know what the hell is going to happen. You know, they don't know if in the end you guys are really going to work things out with one another or not. They just, they don't know. You know, this is somebody who doesn't like to like be in the dark. You know, this is somebody who likes to know everything. You know, with the High Priestess is somebody who likes to know everything. They like to know every single thing, like what's going to happen before it happens type of individual. So you know, the fact that they just don't know, like, if you're going to honestly want to work things out with them or not, it's just, you know, very nerve-wracking, you know, for them. You know, it's like they're trying to like remain positive and, you know, hopeful and optimistic, but it's like, you know, just them kind of going based off of, you know, you and how you're showing up in this dynamic. It's, you know, causing them to, you know, kind of question like, damn, like, do they really want to be with me? Do they really want to work this out? Because, you know, it just kind of feels like they don't, but then there's times where, you know, it feels like they do. So I do believe very soon this person is just going to ask you straight up, like, hey, like, are we going to, you know, try to make this relationship work together? You know, do you not want to do this? Do you want to do this? You know, because this whole like, you know, 1 minute you make it seem like you want to be with them, the next minute you make it seem like you don't. Like, it's just, you know, starting to kind of take a toll on them, and they just don't like it, you know, like they just want to know, like, do you really want to be with them and make this work, or do you not want to be with them, you know? Either which way, the choice is entirely up to you, you know? But I feel like when this person does ask you, like, hey, do you want to make this work? Do you not want to make this work? You know, I don't feel like you really have a legit answer for them, because at the end of the day, you don't know what's going to make you happy. You don't know if going back to being single and alone is what's going to make you happy. And you're kind of thinking back on when you were single and alone, like, you weren't fully happy, let's be honest. But at the same exact time, it's like, you don't know if your relationship, you know, with this person's gonna make you happy if you do decide to stay. And I feel like it has a lot to do with the fact that there's certain things that you want this person to basically change about themselves, you know, in order for you to actually be happy with them in this dynamic that you share with them. And you don't really know if they're actually going to change. So then that's another thing too. The number 5 speaks of change. So it's like, a lot of you would find yourself being like happy with this person, you know, if this person were to just change whatever it is that you've communicated to them that you want them to essentially change about themselves. But, you know, you don't know if they're going to change or not. You don't freaking know, you know. And if they don't change, it's like you already know what's going to happen. You know, you're going to find yourself having some good moments with them, and then you're going to find yourself having some bad moments with them. And like, you know, your whole MO is, well, I just don't want to keep experiencing these trying times with them over and over and over again. Like, I just want them to change. I just want them to change. But, you know, if they don't change, like, I'm going to forever, like, you know, feel this way, you know, not feel entirely happy with them, you know? And that's the thing, is that at the end of the day, you want to be happy, but you want to be happy with them. And you feel like the only way that that could happen is if they change. But that's the thing. It's like, you don't know if they're going to change. You know what I mean? And if you're just going based off of how things have been, you know, between the two of you, you don't see them changing, which is causing you to feel like, all right, they're never going to change. So it's like, I'm either going to have to deal with this for as long as I choose to remain with them, or I'm just going to get up and walk away, you know? So you don't really have an answer for them, you know, in regards to like whether or not you want to make this work or not. What actions will Aquarius take towards this person or moving forward? What actions will Aquarius take towards this person or moving forward? Okay, so in regards to how you plan, on moving forward, we have the High Priestess to the 6 of Pentacles, and then we also have the Magician out here. In the end, due to the amount of time and energy you've invested into this connection thus far, I still see you wanting to continue on in this dynamic here between you and this person. So we don't actually see you giving up on your relationship with this person. And I feel like, you know, there's like a variety of different reasons as to why you're not giving up on your relationship with this person. I feel like it has a lot to do with the time and energy you've invested into this person thus far. So to have to freaking start over all over again with another person is just not something, honestly, that you're looking forward to. It's not even something that you really want to do, to be completely honest. Like, you don't want to start over from the looks of it. So, you know, this is, you know, another reason why, you know, you're choosing to stay and make it work. You know, I feel like another reason why you're choosing to, you know, stick around and make this work has a lot to do with the fact that, no, your person, you know, is, you know, far from perfect, just like you're far from perfect, just like we're all far from perfect. You know, I think that, you know, you are realizing, you know, that, you know what, like, you know, this person's not perfect. You know, there's certain things that I would love for them to change about themselves, but there's also a lot of good, you know, when it comes down to this person. And I see you thinking about the good things, you know, about this person, and how you've never experienced that before, you know, with anybody else. You know, this is somebody, you know, who, I don't know, like, would be the type of person to go out their way to do something nice for you. You know, this is somebody who for the most part is really good to you. You know, this is somebody who takes care of you. This is somebody who obviously loves you. This is somebody who, you know, obviously refuses to give up on you in this dynamic that they share with you, which is something that you can't really say about anybody else you've ever dealt with. You know, maybe people from your past were very quick to give up on you. They're not. You know, maybe the people that you've dealt with in the past just simply weren't like them, you know? I mean, technically speaking, you know, you are technically dealing with the total package. I mean, regardless of this person's gender, male or female, doesn't matter. We all have masculine and feminine energy within us. Your person just harnesses a lot of feminine energy. So if this is like a dude, for example, that we're talking about here, they lean far more towards their feminine side than they do their masculine side. If this is, you know, a female that we're talking about here, they lean far more towards their feminine side than they do their masculine side. You see what I mean? So don't get caught up in the gender. But they're considered to be, like I said, the total package. They're showing up as an empress. You know, an empress, you know, is somebody who's all the queens in one. So yeah, they're considered to be the total package. You know, they bring, you know, far more to this table than anybody else you've ever dealt with, is basically what I'm getting. You know, the fact that they're nurturing, loving, you know, affectionate, you know, they're thoughtful, they're generous, you know, they're kind. You know, it's that type of person that, you know, if you ever needed anything, you know, they'll come through for you. You know, like they are basically wifey hubby material, basically. You know, I think that compared to all of your, you know, other exes, you know, like hands down, like, you know, they're the best you've ever had, you know. So you kind of, you know, feel like if you were to walk away from this relationship, you're never going to find them in someone else. You know what I mean? Like, you might find somebody that doesn't have, I guess, the issues that they have, because there's something about them that you want them to change. So I don't know what that is, but whatever it is that you want them to essentially change about themselves, granted, the next person, you know, may not have that problem that this person has. Let's say, for example, your person has trust issues. Well, the next person you get involved with, you know, they may not have trust issues, you know, but, you know, they may not cook for you. They may not clean for you. They may not go out their way to do nice things for you. They may not, you know, show up for you when you need them the most. They might be the type of person that's very quick to give up on you the moment that you just so happen to rub them the wrong way and or piss them off. You know what I mean? And going back to like the time that the two of you spent apart from one another, because I keep wanting to go back to that. I feel like when you guys were separated, I feel like, you know, you met other people, you went on dates with other people, you got to know other people, and I think that you quickly realized, like, damn, it just don't get no fucking better than them. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they have their issues, yeah, they're not perfect, yeah, they have their trust issues, or yeah, they have, you know, their past traumas, or yeah, they have their fear of intimacy, or yeah, this and yeah, that, but damn, you know what I mean? Like, because I feel like when you look at this person, you look at somebody who is just damn near close to like perfection, you know, in your eyes. You know, like this is somebody who basically has like 95% of what you truly want and desire within a person. It's just that 5% where you're just like, man, like if this person were to change this about themselves and that about themselves, like I would be happy with them. You know what I mean? So to leave somebody who has 95% of what you're looking for within a person to potentially end up with somebody who may have like 50% of what you want within a person, 30%, 20%, hell, maybe 75% if you get lucky. You know what I mean? It's just not something that you're trying to do and or even risk, is basically what I'm getting. Because it kind of looks like when you guys were separated, yeah, you went on a few dates and probably got to know people, but, you know, these people that you came into contact with weren't, you know, people that, you know, were like them, you know what I mean? Like they were like a fraction of 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 them and what you had with them. So, you know, if you would have taken anybody of these people serious, you know, any of these, you know, people seriously that you were dating prior to like the two of you being separated or broken up, like you would have found yourself feeling like you were literally settling for less, you know what I mean? So I do see you deciding to work things out in the end with them, you know, because you love them, because they're, you know, they have 95% of what you're looking for within a person. You know, and, you know, because this is somebody that you've already invested a lot of time and energy towards, and you wanted to make it count for something. You know, this is somebody that, you know, from the start, you knew, you know, was the one for you. From the start, you knew that this is the person that you wanted to grow old with, manifest and create life with. So I see you deciding to, you know, do just that. That's basically what I'm getting. To work it out in the end. What actions will this person take towards Aquarius are moving forward? So we do have the Three of Pentacles, we got the Queen of Swords, and then we also have the Wheel of Fortune. You know, I think that the both of you are going to, you know, like I said, come together and make this relationship work. You know, for a second, you had them kind of fucking worried. I'm not even going to hold you. You had this person kind of worried that, you know, you were done with them and that you didn't want to, you know, make this work anymore. But, you know, because in the end, you're deciding, you know what, no, like, I'm not going to give up on this person. I love them. You know, they mean everything to me. Like, this is what's causing you to want to keep fighting, you know, for this relationship. You know, even though they have 99 reasons as to why they should give up on you, they're choosing not to. Even though you got 99 reasons to give up on them, you're choosing not to. So I think that things are going to take a drastic turn ultimately for the better, you know, between you and this person. You know, one thing that I do like about how you guys are moving forward is this. I feel like they know what's going to make you happy in this dynamic here. And I do see them putting forth, you know, the effort, you know what I mean, to do what they have to do on their end to essentially make you happy. And you know what's going to make them happy. So I do see you putting forth the effort to do what you got to do on your end to make them happy. And in the end, what do we see? Two freaking happy people, you know, with each other. You know, I just kind of feel like there came a point in time where you guys stopped making each other happy. You know what I mean? They know what's going to make you happy, just like you know what's going to make them happy. I just kind of feel like due to like, you know, things being toxic, chaotic, and, you know, you putting them through this and then putting you through that, you know, through that, it just, it removes the desire to want to make one another happy. You know what I mean? But this time around, like moving forward, you know, we see you doing, you know, exactly what you got to do to make them happy, because you know what's going to make them happy, just like they know what's going to make you happy. So, you know, I do see this person definitely doing that, you know, as well. Now, at the bottom of the deck, you know, this is kind of cute. I'm not going to lie. This is kind of cute. I actually see you like falling like back in love with this person, like, you know, like all over again. Like, I am getting that. Like, you're falling back in love with this person all over again. I am definitely getting that in the near future, you're going to find yourself feeling the same way you felt when you initially met them. You know, how it was like, you know, like, you know, like the best time of your life. Because I feel like when you met this person, it was literally like, you know, you had the best time of your life. It was like, you know, it was everything to you. You know what I mean? It meant a lot to you. There was so much happiness there, so much joy there, so much excitement there. And I see you actually reliving that all over again with them. You know, I feel like you're going to be kind of surprised by this energy, because you didn't necessarily think that it was possible to go through everything that you went through with this person, to then fall back in love with them all over again. Like, you just didn't think that it was possible. I know it's a little TMI. I am kind of getting a little TMI. I am definitely getting, though, as far as like your intimate life with this person is concerned, you know, it could have died down to like due to like the problems that you guys were experiencing with one another, you know, things of that nature. It happens in every, you know, marriage or relationship. It is what it is. But I do see that picking back up. But I keep wanting to go back to like in the beginning. I keep wanting to go back to like in the beginning. Maybe in the beginning of this dynamic between the two of you, maybe you guys did it like frequently. Like, you know, 20 times a day, which I don't even know how the hell y'all pull that shit off, but whatever, it's none of my business. I'm just saying, like, I am definitely getting that in the beginning. You guys used to like, you know, be intimate with one another, you know, a lot, like a lot, like a lot, you know what I mean? And I do see that happening again, between you, and this person. It's just going to like, it's like the epitome of like reliving, like, you know, this relationship from the very start all over again. And I think that, you know, you're going to be really happy. I think that they're going to be really happy. I think that y'all are going to be very intimate with one another. I am definitely getting that. So I don't know if you guys did it like 20 times in one freaking day, which I don't know how the hell y'all have time for that, but whatever. Like, then that's what I see you guys doing. You know, again, it's just gonna feel like the first time, you know, especially with the Three of Pentacles coming out here. Like, it's just gonna feel like it felt, you know, the very first time when you guys met one another. You know how you guys were all over each other and you guys couldn't get your hands off of one another, and you're all over here like doing it 20 times a day. You know what I mean? Like, y'all ain't got anything else to do with your time. Yeah, like that type of vibe. You know, it's basically what I'm getting. And I just, you know, I see you falling back in love with them, and I see them falling back in love with you, you know. It's gonna feel, it's just gonna feel how it did the very first time you guys got back together, you know. It's basically what I'm getting. I do want to pull a romance angel card though for the both of you. Interesting enough, I'll just take this one because this was at the bottom of the deck, and I don't even know why I didn't even bother to talk about this. So we have trust. The situation's calling for you to have faith. I do feel like, you know, you're kind of losing hope and faith here. And, you know, I feel like you're very discouraged right now with how things are playing out between the two of you. You know, I am definitely getting that. You know, there's thoughts of, well, I don't think it's going to get better. I don't think things are going to improve. I don't think they're going to change. Have trust and faith because things will essentially get better. But you have to make the choice to keep fighting. You got to make the choice to keep fighting. Because realistically speaking, and I think that you've considered this too, realistically speaking, dude, you could always go off and find another. You could, but I promise you, on everything I love, because you know that this is true when I say this, like, you'll find somebody else. You will. You'll find somebody else. You will. And then that's not going to sit up here and put you through what, you know, they're going to put you through. But you're going to experience trying times with that new person. You're going to experience some hard times with that person. That is a given. That is inevitable. There is no outrunning that. There is no escaping that. There's going to, you know, come a point in time where that new person that used to make you happy and all that shit, you know, butterflies, rainbows, and ponies and shit, is going to piss you the hell off. And you're going to not want anything to do with that person. You're going to consider walking away from them, you know, like, it's gonna, you know, like that's what you got to look forward to. You know what I mean? If you were to leave this relationship, yeah, you'll find somebody else, but I promise you that somebody else is gonna dry hump your last nerve. You know, they're gonna try your life, they're gonna test your gangster, you know, like it's gonna happen. And there's gonna be times where you're gonna be like, oh my god, like, I don't even know if I want to fucking do this anymore with this person, and they're not making me happy and things like that. Like, so it's like, you know, you could do that. You know, you could walk away and go find another, and then, you know, be happy for like the first 3 months until like the problems show up, you know, and then you're just like, oh, back at square one, like, I'm unhappy, and look, this person's putting me through this, they're putting me through that. Or you could choose to stay and make it work. And that's what I see you doing. I do see you choosing to, like, you know, just simply stay and, you know, make it work. So as far as like them is concerned, they're very worried and concerned right now about the I guess like the current status, I guess you can say, about their, you know, relationship with you. You know, are you guys going to make it work in the end? Or are you guys not going to make it work in the end? You know, I am getting that, yes, they are very worried and very concerned, obviously. But this card is just basically saying like, hey, you don't have anything to worry about. You know, just have trust and faith that things will essentially get better, because I do see things, you know, eventually getting better. And the fact that we have the Ace of Cups to the Ace of Wands, man, because you got the Ace of Cups, they got the Ace of Wands. I do feel like you guys are going to be, you know, reliving, you know, this, you know, the time that the two of you essentially met one another. I do see you guys, you know, kind of reliving it all over again. You know, you're going to find yourself feeling the same way you felt when you initially met them for the very first time, and so are they. Like, I just see you guys both falling back into love with one another. And I keep getting that the two of you didn't think that it was possible or something like that. Like, I keep getting that. Like, a lot of you may think and believe that once you fall out of love with someone, or once you start to fall out of love with someone, there is no like getting it back. It's like just like, I guess, gone forever or something like that. I think that you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised with how this plays out in the end, because you will fall back into love with them. You know, just how you were like the very first time you met them, same applies for them. So it's gonna feel like, you're dating a new person, but you're not. Like, it's yeah, it's gonna feel like you're dating a new person, but you're not dating a new person. It's gonna feel new, but it's not new, because, you know, y'all have been dealing with one another. Yeah, so just have trust and faith that things will essentially get better. You just got to choose to keep fighting. You got to choose to keep fighting, my friend. All right, so that's what I have for you. Hopefully the reading helped. Hopefully it resonated, and I will